All right, now we're going to do the daily puzzle. Kick some butt. All right. So, man, when you look at this jumble of pieces, where do you begin? And that's probably the question that you ask. Heck, that's the question I ask myself. So, in this one, you know, I do these problems, checks, captures, piece contacts, and board situation. Well, the board situation to me came first because it's like, what is this guy? This is my father's lesson. Okay, what is he trying to do to me? You know, and we say this in a serious question form. We're not going for the trivial and ridiculous.
He's trying to checkmate you. Ha ha ha.
Well, duh. Okay. Although, except in this case, he is trying to checkmate us.
See, I told you so.
Ah, well, he was right one time. Okay. So that's Mr. Steve. Mr. Steve says stupid things like that from time to time.
No, I don't.
Shut up. Anyway, yeah, he's threatening to play Rook H1, which is not itself checkmate, but checkmate is coming in a move or two, okay? So we cannot allow him to play Rook to H1 check. That's mating. At that point, when he plays that move, everything you do leads to one conclusion.
Checkmate.
You know, you'd have Queen H2, Bishop H6, and all those end in checkmate, checkmate, checkmate. Okay, so board situation says we cannot allow Rook H1 check. So we can do anything we want that stops that. Well, not anything, but you get the general drift. You know, so I looked at moves like, you know, captures and checks that are irrelevant unless they're going to generate a stoppage of Rook to H1. One of the moves you could play, Queen to H2 check, does two things. It checks his king and, you know, puts us on offense with the initiative. It also stops Rook to H1 for one move, because the thing is, you can't leave the queen there, because he'll just play Rook to H1 and win your queen. Because he's threatening. Another move he's also threatening is not just Rook to H1 check. He's threatening Rook to H6 check, which is checkmating. Because if you play Bishop takes Rook, he goes Queen to H7 checkmate. So he's got two different rooks he's going to shove on the H file. Not one, but two. So really, Queen to H2 check doesn't quite get it to me. But, you know, it's actually pretty good. The move that I like the best, to me, the one that kind of jumped once I saw this concept of stopping Rook H1 and then Rook H6 check, I was looking at, well, what if we go Rook to A8 check? And you go, well, that's an easy one. He'll just play Bishop takes Rook, stupid.
Yeah, that's what I'd do.
Okay, so we go Rook to A8 check. Bishop takes Rook.
Ha, I told you.
Well, we take it back. Rook takes A8. So Rook takes Bishop check. And then, now he has, for example, he could play Knight to A4. That loses. If you need to see how that loses on your own, pause the video and then we'll be right back. Okay. Knight to A4 check loses to checkmate. And I don't need to show you the move because you're smart enough to figure this out. If I tell you it's checkmate, because the knight would be pinned by the rook. The knight does not defend the king. Okay, so let's look at that again. Rook A8 check, Bishop takes Rook.
Yay!
Rook takes Bishop check. So basically he can play Bishop to A5, we just eat it. Rook takes Bishop check. So that doesn't do anything. So when the rook gets on A8 check after it's been captured, he has two moves, king b1 or king to b2. Now, king to b1 is the better move because you don't have to be a genius. Why do you say king b1 is the best move? Well, because let's look at the other one. The other one is so horrible that you'll agree with me. Oh yeah, that's the best move, all right. King to b2 is so horrible because we can play. What move can we play? I hope you don't need to pause the video, but if you do, go right ahead. If you pause the video and found the move, that's fantastic. I don't care how you find the move. Queen takes knight check is devastating because it's checkmate on the next move. Okay, that's the thingy. So, what it boils down to is the white king cannot allow black to play queen takes knight check. Queen takes knight doesn't do anything because the two rooks will kill you on the H-file. Either one of them will get you. But if black plays queen takes knight check, he's checkmated. Okay. So that's why I said king to b1 is the best move. And the problem is you only have one check, which is rook to a1 check. A rook sacrifice. He basically has to take it. If he avoids it by playing either king to b2 or king to c2, queen takes knight check wins. Okay, he cannot allow that ever to occur. So he's forced to allow it because he has to take the rook. King takes rook. We hit him with queen takes knight check, but he's on a1. So he's forced to play, well, again, he can't play king to b1 because queen to b2 is mate. So he has to play king to, actually it doesn't matter where he plays. King to a2 is also mate on b2. So there you go. It's the rook sacrifice that kills him. Rook to a8, check. Bishop takes rook.
Yay!
Doesn't work, Steve.
Ooh.
Bishop takes rook. Rook takes bishop, check. King to b1 is the best move. Rook to a1 check is the only move. King takes rook and then queen takes knight check. And no matter where he goes, he's checkmated. But if we don't play this exact sequence, rook to h6 check, bishop takes rook, and queen to h7 is mate, that's fantastic. Okay? This is a fantastic counter threat that white has. Whoever made this problem was really, really on fire. Okay? So let's play the move. We've already done the calculations.
Yay!
Too bad it doesn't work.
Boo!
Here's the secret move. This is what separates the men from the boys. Got him. So that was the dealio with this crazy problem. How many moves was that? That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is a 9 level, 9 moves solution. Now, the key part is what made it go so fast is that, you guys really wouldn't get this that quickly. And it's not anything other than experience that's doing the deal. Because what you have to do is you have to realize what the situation was. That this H-file was just devastation. So we saw the H-file was devastation, and we realized we had to avert that. So we knew that if we weren't checking this guy, we were losing, because basically he's going to play a mating sequence on the move as soon as we don't check him. So I was on this fairly quickly. And then once you realize, it helps as you're analyzing these things, because we're imagining these positions. I was imagining in my head when I got to this position here, check. that he could not play king to b2 because, well, we would just check him. And then it's obvious mate. So, like I said, I realized that white could not survive queen takes knight with check. Just like we cannot survive not checking him. He'll unleash rook h6 or rook to h1, either of which is just devastation. So each side had a devastating move they're waiting to play, and what it turned out is that he who plays first forces the victory. If you reverse this, if it's white to move, he wins. You know, this would be an interesting position you could take to your friends and say that, you know, you could win, you know, if you let me move first, I'll take either side and win this game by force. And they will go, you're crazy, you can't do that. And you're like, you're going to go up there and go, just watch me. So you might want to do that, you know, write this position down on a piece of paper and say, hey, whoever moves wins. It's pretty rare that that happens. It's a great problem because it's winning. Whoever plays first wins. The black has the black position is the tougher of the two because you have to find a rook sacrifice. You don't have to find it on the white side because you could play rook to h1 check, which doesn't sacrifice the rook. So it's like, whatever. It's a little bit easier to play the white side. The black side, you have to find rook to a1 check. If you don't find that move, this whole concept here is like you have to, number one, you have to sacrifice both rooks actually. You sacrifice the exchange with one of the rooks, and then you sacrifice the whole rook with the other one. So it's kind of a really wicked double rook sacrifice to line up that killer move that he can't stop. Queen takes knight check. So there you have it. That simplifies matters. So it'd be a terrific, you know, if you're in school, it'd be a terrific problem to take to your friends and go, hey, you know, if you let me, if you know, you choose the side, you choose what side to play, I move first, I'm going to win. You can make a bet and probably win some bets. I'm not saying to do that, but that would be hilarious. So replay this one as many times as you need to understand what's going on. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It was pretty cool, man. You guys take it easy. I'll talk to you later.